Hello, hello, everyone. Good afternoon. It's the none other than myself, Leticia Campbell, and Meiyoko Taylor. And we're so excited to be with you guys once again, 2 days in a row. We're kicking the month off right. And I appreciate you guys for hopping on. For those of you who are tuning in on the replay, please do us a quick favor and go ahead and type in hashtag replay. We love and we appreciate all of our replay viewers. Okay, so we have another great topic that we want to discuss with you guys today, and we're going to just jump right on into it because you guys know tomorrow is the 4th of July, and if you like me, you're like, oh my god, I have so many things missing from my grocery list. I need to go to the grocery store to go get. I know Meiyoko is going to have his festivities as well. I hope so,
Tomorrow's the
right?
4th. Look, I forgot.
Really?
I forgot tomorrow's the 4th.
Right. It's Independence Day
But
tomorrow.
I had my daughter, which would be cool.
Oh, that'd be nice. Do y'all do like fireworks and stuff? Like not you, but probably people in your neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I gotta see what's happening tomorrow.
Yeah. It's like that. You just wait to see what happens. I know now they're already starting to get the fireworks going. They started last week, so in this neighborhood. But yeah, so a lot of you guys are just celebrating your time with your family, your friends, your loved ones, and all the things. So, but you're also thinking about your business because even though you guys are probably out there and having planning your festivities, this is the third quarter. Is like I said yesterday, it's time to make things happen. It's time to execute. It's time to get to work, right? So this particular topic for today is very timely. And what we're going to be discussing with you guys today is this is why your message isn't landing and what to do about it. We all have a message, right? Each and every one of us, we get online, we have a message. Even if we think we don't have a message, we're just showing up just to share with our thoughts and whatnot. We all have a message, but a lot of times we feel like people are not hearing our message. They're not getting our message. They're getting confused, right? Or you're probably thinking all these negative thoughts that you're sounding like everybody else, but you have your own unique message. There's a lot of people out there right now teaching email marketing, teaching thought leadership. There's a lot of people out there teaching branding. Like, oh my God, you could probably find millions, right? But each of them have something unique. And we want to help you guys discover what's that unique thing, right, Meiyoko?
Absolutely.
All right, let's jump into point number one. This is one I love: is how to rewrite your origin story for relatability without the trauma dumping. Now, some people may not know, and I'm just gonna be, because I'm a mom, so I always don't want to assume people know what I'm saying. If you don't know what an origin story is, it's like a narrative that explains how your business came to be.
Right.
It's not your bio. It could be part of your bio, right? It's going to be really long to put about part of your bio, but it's what made you came to be. And Meiyoko and I talked about that a little bit yesterday of how our origin story. If you missed it, go ahead and check out the replay from yesterday. So now today we want to talk about what's your origin story and how you can rewrite that, right, without the dumping out every detail, explicit detail, every single thing about how you came to be, right? How you came to be. So any points you want to say to that, Meiyoko?
I like how you said rewrite here because I think most people have written an origin story that is not alignment with who they are.
Absolutely.
They may have gotten a coach or gotten some advice from somebody else, and they left out all the important parts, all the parts that absolutely sucked. They left out, and they made their origin story sound so good, like they achieved all these things. They're perfect. They really had no obstacles along the way. No, when we say your origin story, when you take them from your first thoughts to your rock bottom to what you tried to solve this problem that didn't work, your great epiphany or your realization, the transition on that, what you did to implement that, why you're passionate about what you do now, and what your mission is. That's an origin story. And I often use the analogy of, we watch a lot of these Marvel and these DC Comics movies that they're remaking with the Avengers and all these different things. Everybody has an origin story. If you look at every character, Iron Man has an origin story, right? His father was a great inventor, a military's defense contractor, right? So he follows in his father's footsteps because he's passionate about wanting to protect the world and all those particular things. So it becomes Tony Stark's. He builds Iron Man. That's
mm,
his origin story, right?
mm,
Black Panther. He's got an origin story, right?
mm, mm.
So it's just like, what is your origin story? And what makes your origin story interesting?
Interesting. Yes, yes. I find that a lot of people, when they say their origin story, it's hard for the consumer to look past their pain because that's all they talk about. So
Mm-hmm.
you could have gone through something in your life, with your whatever trauma or challenge you're going through, and that's it. You stop there. So yes, your origin story is a part of where how your business start to exist, but also how have you looked past or survived from whatever trauma or challenge that you have. If you're just staying there, it's hard for the consumer to be able to look past that. They're still in
Right.
that emotional state where you
Right.
were. You have not talked about how you delivered or resurrected. Even if you haven't, I know a couple of years ago, Meiyoko, you did a session for my clients. I don't know if you remember, but
I
one
do.
of my clients was like, "Oh, she was of a certain weight, and she was working on losing weight, but she
Mm-hmm.
didn't want to share on and help other people on social media because she hasn't reached a size small or whatever."
I
And you
remember.
told her, "No, still get out there and promote what you do because the products you're using are working, and that's
Right.
the goal." You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So we just stay on the fact that just at the starting line, our origin story is the starting line, but you also want to weed in how you are starting to the process of moving from that starting line. Don't
Right.
just stay there.
Right.
I had a low self-esteem. I was sad. I was depressed. I was this. I was that. But what was it? How you transitioning?
Right.
You
Right.
know, because people are not going to stay at that low level with you. You
Right.
know, they're going to follow people no matter where they're at in their process who are moving.
Absolutely.
You know, because that
There's
keeps them going. Go ahead.
there's a formula. There's a formula, and I think people get stuck in a particular part of the formula.
Mm-hmm.
Either they're not explaining the things that they've gone through enough,
Mm-hmm.
or they're explaining what they've gone through too much.
Too much. Yes.
So there has to be a balance. So people need
Mm-hmm.
to know exactly what you went through and how that relates to them. So if
Right.
you're somebody that is, let's say, for example, an entrepreneur and you're struggling to make money in your business and
Mm-hmm.
you're not confident with your brand, you don't think anybody's going to like your product.
Right.
You listen to somebody that's at a different level than you are and maybe experiencing success in their business, and they'll say, hey, you know what? I remember a time where I had $5 in the bank
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't believe in my product or my services because everybody told me it wasn't going to work.
Right.
So I had this particular mindset. So what I had to do is I had to block everything out. I had to focus on what I really wanted to do for myself,
Mm-hmm.
for my family, and what my purpose was.
Mm-hmm.
And once I did that, that's the transition.
Yep. Once I did that.
So they could be like, I felt hopeless. I felt like I wasn't worth it. And,
Mm-hmm.
I had all these obstacles. But once I discovered that it was up to me, and if I focused and I dialed in on what I really wanted to accomplish for my life,
Mm-hmm.
that's when things started to shift.
Mm-hmm.
So see what I did there is I gave you something that's relatable.
Mm-hmm.
I where you are now is where I used to be.
Mm-hmm.
But now I made the shift. I made a discovery. It could be a mindset shift. It could be somebody I met, a mentor, a coach, a
Mm-hmm.
perspective that I gathered.
Right.
But there was a shift. So now I'm going to shift you to something else.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go to, okay, so here's what I had to do. I had to get my mindset right.
Mm-hmm.
I realized I had several limiting beliefs that I had to work on.
Right.
I worked on those limiting beliefs. Then I realized that I wasn't really catering to exactly what my audience wanted.
Mm-hmm.
I built something out that I thought was good for my
Mm-hmm.
audience.
That's
I
right.
really didn't survey my audience and really get their opinion on what they really wanted
Mm-hmm.
or what they needed. Once I
That's
did
right.
that, I kind of tailored my product to that, my service to that. So when I relaunched my service, now I started to get more leads. More
Lilies.
people
Yeah.
started to get on calls. And I started to get more sales.
Mm-hmm.
Then I started to tweak it a little bit more, and
Mm-hmm.
the rest is history.
This
This
is
is what I mean
history.
by the origin story.
Yeah. Yeah.
People need to know where you started from,
Yeah.
that it wasn't great at all. What was the shift for you that did it for you? Because remember,
Right.
some of these people are in the same situation as you are,
Same exact situation.
same situation as you used to
Mm-hmm.
be, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And if you still are to a degree, you're still progressing, so you can still teach
Mm-hmm.
somebody that. Okay,
That's right. That's
Still
right.
teach something. So once they understand that, and then they understand your journey to where you are now,
Mm-hmm.
your origin story becomes powerful. Now it's
Mm.
relatable. And notice I didn't go into, oh my God, I just felt so horrible.
Right, right,
Absolutely suck. And this is just the way that it is. I didn't go into any trauma dumping,
right, right. You don't want to
any,
do that.
any venting. You don't want to dump on your audience. You don't want to dump on
Mm-hmm.
your ideal clients.
Mm-hmm.
It is a turnoff. It is not professional. It's very
Mm-hmm.
distasteful, and you will not be successful in your business if you do that. I
And it gets
promise you.
boring, you know. But let's talk about the flip side of this because we could spend a lot of time on this first point, which is all you talk about is success, is the success. So I remember years ago when I did my very first branding film, which is
Mhm,
like sort of like a reel, but it's longer, and you talk about your origin story, you talk
mhm,
about your success, and you talk about what you're launching or what's coming next for your brand. And I remember when we had to do our script. So I wrote out my script, and when I got up there in front of the camera, I started talking about all the success, how I left my corporate job and all these things and stuff.
mhm.
And the director was like, "Stop. Stop. You got to go deeper." Right? And the thing is, though, I want to go deeper. Sometimes for us, for the other side of the spectrum of entrepreneurs, we don't want to talk about the pain and what we went through and how our company became into existence because it's so much pain and trauma involved that we don't want to revisit that. So I didn't want to revisit like everything, all the rejection, all the lack of support, and everything I went through early on in my business. But he was saying that's part of the story. You know,
Right.
people just don't want to hear about the successes and all the places you travel and all the people you helped and how much money you make. Those are good, but you got to talk about the foundation. So once I got into that, and if y'all ever got a chance to watch that film, y'all can see me tearing up because we kept cutting. We just kept cutting because I was just bawling, crying because I don't want to talk about that part. But once I launched it, so many people reached out. You know what I mean? I talked about everything, like a little snapshots, not everything, like little snapshots of what I went through before my company came to concept. So
Mhm.
again, guys, we got to go a little deep, but don't get so deep, to the point where again you're trauma dumping. Yeah.
Yeah, I want to make
Mm-hmm.
one statement before we go on
Go
to the
ahead. Go
next
ahead.
thing.
Go ahead.
Stop thinking that the things that you've gone through, the things that are less sexy, less desirable, that are relevant to your story, stop thinking that nobody wants to hear them.
Right.
Because in our mind, we're like, oh my God, that's the negative part. Nobody wants to hear that. But that's the part that people relate to the most. And
Mm-hmm.
stop thinking that it discredits you. You have this image of, oh, I
Mm.
gotta to have my credentials and my
Mm-hmm.
letters and all that other stuff. And this is what's important to people. No, that's what's feeding your ego.
That's right. That's right.
What's important to people is that, do you understand my problem? Can you relate to it? Is your story relatable? Can I relate to you? Do we connect? And can you legitly solve my problem? Can you
That's
solve
right.
my problem?
Yeah.
This is what people want to know.
That's right. That's right. I can honestly say,
And
Miyoko, the things that I were afraid to talk about working with you, I enjoy talking about more now. You know.
good, 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 good.
Absolutely. So let's go into the second point. It so aligns with the second point, which is how to align your content to your message. Hit the heart, not just the feed. Not just the feed. Like I said early on, we all have a message. We all have something that's going to impact people, but you want to hit people's emotions. You definitely
Right,
want to start to hit people's emotions and values and their needs and all the things. One of the things I feel like we have to stop saying is like, I believe, like, or I hope I'm successful. I hope I'm
right,
able to help you.
right.
I believe that I could believe I can help you.
That's doubt.
Does
It's
that
doubt.
sound convincing to you,
Doubt.
Miyoko? No.
Doubt. It's doubt.
No. We got to stop saying that. If that's any pet peeve you can say, I can't stand hearing people's lives in content, is that's the one. Because for me, if you talk like that, I'm not going to work with you. I want you to be certain. I want you to
Right.
be certain that you can help me. I want you to be certain that you can get me from A to Z. I want you to be certain that you can definitely get me to where I want to be.
Good point. And then what I'll
Yeah.
add to that is the reason why people are uncertain or using that language is because they're not even dialed in on their own audience.
There you go.
Because if you're dialed in on the exact audience of people that relate to you, that connect to you, and your product or service serves a major problem in their life,
absolutely,
you don't ever have to say, I believe. You know this can help.
I hope.
You know this can help them. Now, what you can't do for them is you cannot do the work.
Right.
So you can express to them, this doesn't work unless you do. You have to put it to work.
You got
work. I know the system works. There's testimonials. There's social proof. But only if you put in the work. So it's up to you. So that's how you can talk in an authoritative way as an expert. But you have to be dialed into that exact audience. So aligning your content so your message hits the heart.
Right.
It's only going to hit the heart of the audience that you are completely dialed into.
Absolutely. It has to be a commitment level on both sides, and that's how your content gets better. That's how your messaging gets better. That's how you hit people to the heart, because now you're confronting what their commitment has to be.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I always make this point. I've been saying this for years. One thing I love about sales is that we almost force people to make a decision. Either you want to change or do you want things to remain the same? You have two choices. So I always tell people my role in what I do as an entrepreneur is not to convince people of what they believe in themselves. It's up to you. Whether you think it's going to work, you're right. If you think it's not going to work, you're right. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to get you to understand that there needs to be a change. And either you want things to remain the same or you want things to get better. You know, so when we tie that in, I'm literally like, I love the game Blackjack. I don't know if you ever played that, but it's like me now competing with the dealer. I'm now confronting what it is that you need to work on. So I hope that helps somebody. So let's go into our third point.
Oh, I'm not going to let you go. I'm not going to let you go into number 3.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
No. Sales. Sales is, I got to touch because you said it. That was big. Sales is not forcing someone to make a decision. This is what we've been taught for years. Oh, if they say this, rebuttal that, rebuttal this, rebuttal that. If you market right, if your message aligns and hits the heart, if you are dialed in with the right audience, they are locked in on your story,
right?
And you present a product or service to them. Now, they may have some fears or some insecurities that you may kind of go through and talk about, but you should never, ever, ever have to force anybody to make a decision.
Right.
That is not sales. That's manipulation.
That's deep. That's deep.
That is deep.
That's going to the next one. Thank you for that. So point number 3 is how to elevate from surface level connection to powerful conviction that inspires action. Right. Powerful
You can
conviction.
go. I got plenty to say on this, but you can go first.
Yeah, I'm gonna go. So we all want to be liked, right? All of us want to be liked. We show up online, want people to like our posts, want people to like our content, and on top of that. But I think the most important thing, I don't know what your opinion on this, Meiyoko, because I like how we have this dialogue, because we're not going to agree on everything, but that know, like, and trust factor, right? I always say that I don't like the like part, because somebody can like you today and not like you tomorrow, right? I feel that people should trust and know you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because Meiyoko and I work together, and we may not like everything, but again, if the trust is there, if you trust the person, you're going to keep pushing through. It's like having a trainer. Back in the day when I used to have a trainer, and I was really excited about working with him. But once I started to go through the pain and go through the work, I didn't like him, but I trusted him to know he was going to get me to my goal. Right. So because we stay so hard, if we stay there just on wanting to be liked, a lot of times, if we don't get that like satisfaction, we're not going to last. But if we say, you know what, let me just get these people to trust me. Let me get them to know me. Because once they know you, they know your beliefs, they know your brand, they know your passion, they know your mission. They're going to stay beholden to that. So I know the like part always comes first. I get that part. But a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we stay stuck on that like part.
So the thing is, why do you have to personalize like, though?
A lot of people do, though.
You don't really have to like the person. But the thing about it is, you know they're good at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
You trust them because they have the results to prove it.
Mm-hmm.
And you like the fact that they can get the result, help you get the results. There's still a
Mm-hmm.
like in there. You don't have to
Mm-hmm.
like them as a person per se
Mm-hmm.
because you don't really know them as a person.
Right.
But
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
do you like the fact that they can get you to where you want to be? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You love it. You trust their
Absolutely. Yeah.
results. You like the results.
Uh-huh.
So you're going to continue to work with this particular individual
Right.
because you
Right.
know they're good at what they do. You like the results you're
Mm-hmm.
getting,
Mm-hmm.
and you trust them because they've been getting the results for everybody else.
Exactly. Exactly.
But still,
But
no like and trust still works.
it does. But I'm talking about the entrepreneurial part of it all, where when we don't get the engagement, right? If we stuck on saying, well, I want people to like what I'm doing, like my content, like what I'm
You're talking
sharing.
about
Yeah.
personalizing.
And when we
Ah,
as entrepreneurs personalize that and just stay stuck on that. So I'm gonna share what I remember years ago when I was doing an event and I
excuse
invited everybody. It was here in New York, and I invited a whole bunch of people. And a lot of people showed up, and there was some people I've never seen before online, never. And I sat with them. I was like, "How did you come to find me?" They're like, "Oh, I've been watching you for years. I just never said anything. I never liked or comment or anything." So a lot of times you have those viewers that are just silent viewers, and all of a
right.
sudden they'll pop up at an event or pop up at a mastermind, or you see them on your Stripe account and make a payment. But if I had just gave up years ago when I wasn't getting the huge amount of popularity or engagement or what have you, I would have probably quit. But that's what I'm saying. We got to trust and believe in what we do, So I just stay focused on the fact that let me still show up to get people to know me and trust me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then focus on the engagement that they give me. Yeah.
And I mean,
Because
you do
that's
that,
surface level. Yeah.
but naturally, from a humanistic perspective,
Mm-hmm.
if people start to relate to your story, if they feel
Mm-hmm.
like they can
Oh
be,
yeah.
they start to connect with you on that level.
Mm-hmm.
They see the results that you're getting. Now,
Mm-hmm.
subconsciously and psychologically, they're going to start to like you anyway
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
because we like people that we have common interests with,
Yes, we
commonality with.
do.
So they'll
Mm-hmm.
begin to like you anyway. Now,
Mm-hmm.
do they know you completely as a person? No, but your content can be presented in a way where they really feel like they truly, truly know you.
Mm-hmm.
Like they've grown up with you, right? This is when
Mm-hmm.
your content is really, really good
Mm-hmm.
and really, really clear. But the thing about it, the surface level connection, it's got to go beyond that. So this is how you get somebody. You want your content to be able to have somebody look at themselves and say, you know what? I want to act today. I want to take action
Mm-hmm.
today. I
Mm-hmm.
am convicted.
Mm-hmm.
I am determined
Right.
to actually get this particular change for myself
Mm-hmm.
based on your content, based on
Mm-hmm.
your connection. That's
Mm-hmm.
what we mean by a powerful conviction. You want people that you target or people that you want your audience to really believe that they can accomplish the things that you're saying that they can. Like
Mm-hmm.
really, really believe it. Hey, what's up, Diane?
Hey,
So
Diane.
you really want them to believe that without a
Mm-hmm.
shadow of doubt. And
Mm-hmm.
once you have that conviction, not only will you have a lifelong client, you'll have a loyal client that will
Mm-hmm.
refer you to other people, and you'll start to build a community around that.
You will. And I like what you mentioned, the belief, because I rather focus on moving people to believe in what you're doing.
Right.
That really gets people to stay along for the long haul. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like I can honestly say I have a lot of people, clients who are like, oh, these are my day one clients. These are the clients that was like day one, they were there. But it's that belief, there's so many brands. You look at Coca-Cola, you look at Louis Vuitton, Gucci, all these brands. It's that belief level that people have that no matter what, they're going to work, be
Right.
supporting those businesses. Okay.
And
So let's
community,
see. Go ahead.
I was going to say, and community comes from conviction.
Yeah, it
It doesn't
does.
come from surface level connection. It comes from
Mm-hmm.
conviction.
Mm-hmm. Gotta have that powerful conviction. I'm telling you,
Right.
because I get it, guys. Sometimes when we go up this up and down, entrepreneurship is not like this. It is not always like this.
At
Is that
all. At all.
spiraling thing? That we go up and down. It could be an emotional roller coaster for a lot of people, but this is where us and our personal belief have to stay focus into that. And that's why I was referring to the like part. It's like we got to just say, you know what? I know the overflow is going to happen. I know if I keep pushing through and showing up and staying consistent, people are just going to pop up. You know what I mean? and
Right.
and want to support us. And that's so important. So important. You know, I think it's a big thing as we dive into everything that we talk about, everything that Meiyoko and I shares, that you guys know that you need the support. You need the support. You need to know with how your messaging needs to be down packed to the point where, just like Meiyoko said, people got to believe enough in you to want to say, I want to work with you and I want to bring people to you as well. You know what I'm saying? That's important. So
Right.
one of the foundational things that we talk about, that we're going to be talking about on August 16th, if you guys haven't purchased your tickets, make sure you purchase your tickets. Shout out to Dr. Carlene. She was on yesterday. She got her ticket last night. Where to the point is
Nice.
that we want you guys to stand out for the people that
Right.
you need the help. Because that's really all that matters. It's like we so trying to work on, one of the things I find that we so stay focused on the competition and not the consumer, right? Not the people that we really need to be that needle in the haystack for, you know, because all of us are that needle in the haystack. So one of the things that we're going to be discussing during our Your Brand, Your Breakthrough Evolution Tour is teaching you how to become that needle in the haystack with personal branding, with leadership, and also with thought leadership. What do you think about that, Meiyoko? What do you have to say to that?
So the reason why you want to be at this event or
Mm-hmm.
experience, you're going to gain an edge on anybody in your industry. I'm not going to say competition because I don't believe that you have any competition. You're
That's
unique.
right.
You have your own gifts and your skill set. But this will give you an edge in the sense of you'll be able to articulate who you are, why you're here, what your mission is, how you do it, and why you do it more different than anyone else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What makes you
Mm-hmm.
stand out. And you'll learn how to articulate that in your posts,
Mm-hmm.
your product, and your services. And it'll filter not only just in your professional life, but in your personal life as well. Because we can't teach personal branding without leadership. And you can't teach leadership without transformation and breakthroughs. So
Mm-hmm.
you will have an amazing, unforgettable experience. It'll be something you can implement right away, and it'll be unlike anything you've ever attended.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And a lot of you on here are probably wondering, well, what is my message? It's so interesting how many I see so many people out there posting and going live, and they don't really know what that is. We can help you develop that as well, or refining your message. You know what I mean? I remember Meiyoko I'm always going to say this, but he says you're more than email marketing, right? Sometimes you need those people outside your bubble that sees that bigger potential. Right,
Mm-hmm.
they see what you're doing on the surface, but they're like, wait a minute, you have a bigger potential here. That bigger potential could be a whole nother stream of income that you
Absolutely.
haven't yet tapped into. And so
Oh,
we want you guys to tap in all your different areas of income, because again, when you tap in those multiple areas, you're helping more people. That's all it
absolutely.
is. You're opening up another avenue to help the more people that need what it is you have to offer, right? And the other things that's more than you. So I think out of all that, that's huge, because I know that was huge for me. I wouldn't be where I am right now if you didn't say that, Meiyoko. So I think it's important that
Appreciate
we understand that realignment is great, and listening to other people's suggestions and opinions is important. I'm always learning something new every day, and
it. Me
as an
too.
entrepreneur, we should always be in that aspect of what else can I learn. This is why you guys need to get in the room, whether it be in person or online. What else can I learn that's going to help me run my business better, show up better, and do better? That's why you guys need to be there as well. You can never know enough, right? You can never know enough. All right. So the link to go to is bit.ly/YBYB tour. Go to that link. Go ahead and register. We still have some in-person spots left. We have virtual seating left. So make sure you guys go ahead and grab your ticket. Okay. Go ahead and grab your ticket
Yes.
as soon as possible. Okay. It's going to be on
Yes.
August
Make it
16th.
out. Make it out.
Yes. August 16th here in New York. All right. So without further ado, you guys continue to have a great day. Enjoy your 4th of July holiday. Stay safe. Okay. Stay safe.
Hey.
Right. Have a great, great time. God bless. And we'll see y'all next week. Bye,
All right.
guys.
See you, everybody.